Okay, so today we've got the Grimghast Reaper set. It is a 10 miniature set, which today in this video I will be painting 2 of them, which basically all of them have the same color scheme, and if you learn how to paint these 2, then you'll know how to paint all of them. So right now I'm trying to find the manual to show you that. Here it is. So this is the manual and the stats, which you can't really see. I'm going to adjust my camera in a minute, you'll see. And then this is the color scheme. If you want to follow their color scheme, do that. I use a lot of the same colors, but I've kind of used my own as well. So here you can hardly see what I'm doing, but I'm starting with Abaddon Black by Citadel paints. And I'm just painting all of the inside black, the tips black, and then the outside I'm avoiding the cloak, but really we're just blocking in. So if you get a little bit of black on the cloak, whatever, it doesn't matter. You can go back and paint over it later. So I'm taking each piece also, yes, each piece. So I haven't glued this together completely, because if you glue it together completely, it's gonna be really hard to get the inside of the cloak. And you're gonna notice that on the miniature when it's done, if you look closely. So we've got it in separate pieces here, and there's 2 models. But basically all I'm doing is I'm just going through painting everything black, and I'm gonna leave it at that for the moment, and I'll be back when something new happens. Also, as a little side note, there are tiny little chains on this miniature, on the cloak, that hang off. Don't worry about painting those black. Like I said, we're just blocking in right now, so go ahead and paint over those, and later we can go over those and make them silver or copper or whatever color you want to go with. In this video, I'm going silver. So just keep that in mind. You don't have to be too clean with this step. Just block it in, paint it, you know, get it a good coat, second coat, make sure there's no gray areas or anything like that. All right, so here we're starting with Rhinox hide by Citadel. Give it a good shake. Always shake your paints, you know, they get kind of thick if you don't, and then they clump up when you're painting with them, so shake, shake, shake. And here we're just doing the cloak with the Rhinox hide color. And again, don't worry about the chains and painting over anything like that. What I try to avoid is on the secondary piece there's a little tiny skull. And since I'm painting that a very bright color like white, I'm not going to get any paint on that. I'm going to try to be careful there. And then his little arm there is sticking out, and I try not to paint on that either because it's another light color. And then right here on these, going around the skulls there's like a lip there around the cloak. You want to make sure to get that, because you will notice that it's on the face, and you will notice if that's not completely painted or if it's got like gray spots through a thin coat of paint. So just be very careful and try to go around the skull and get into that little tiny space. I used kind of a big brush, but you don't have to be ballsy like me. You can use a smaller brush. And then I'm just going back in with the Rhinox hide color and doing a second coat on the cloaks because it was a little bit see-through. And then on the tips of these sights here too, because again, see-through, you can see some gray. All right, and then here we're going in with Gorthor brown on the scythe handles because it's a little bit lighter brown. It looks more like a wood to me. So I'm just getting that done here. Sorry if you can hear my dog whining and the nails. And again, this is still blocking in, so you don't have to be too careful here. You can get paint on the hands, but I'm being kind of delicate and careful because, again, I'm putting a lighter color on the hands and the arms, so I'm trying not to get any darker color, like a brown, on them, because then I'll have to do more coats and I might lose the texture of the fingers. All right, now we're going in with iron rack skin and doing the arms, the hands. I'm gonna do the skull and the little nib on the arm that's sticking out of the main piece there as well. And with this one, again, you don't have to be too careful, but this is more getting into detail work now, and you wanna make sure that you don't fill in the ridges of like the face there with too much paint. You want to do a really thin coat so you don't lose the definition of the bones and the fingers. Okay, that there is Doombull brown. Again, remember, shake, shake, shake your paint. It will get thick and clumpy, and we are doing a very small area here, so use a small brush. That's pretty much all my advice on that part. Going back in with iron rack skin to do the tips of the cloak there. Actually, I have already done this right here. That was an extra clip. I thought that I didn't have this clip, so I threw that in there. Oh well, I'm not gonna edit it out because I'm kind of lazy. So that was me pretending to paint in the last clip, but here you can actually see what I'm doing. I'm so glad that I got this clip. I was so bummed when I thought I didn't record that part. But here we're going in with Thunderhawk Blue to go over that faded look that I just created. And this technique that I'm using here is called dry brushing. So what you wanna do is you wanna get kind of a wide brush, and you'll dip it into the paint and get it pretty saturated, and then you'll take a paper towel and just wipe it off all the thick paint until you barely get any color out of it, and then you just brush the heck out of whatever you're trying to paint, and it'll cause like this cool kind of faded look like we're getting here, which is awesome. I love dry brushing. It's like my favorite technique in painting. Yeah, so go ahead and let me know if you guys want a tutorial on how to do dry brushing. I can go more in depth with it, what type of brush you might want to use. There's lots of different brushes that you can use for dry brushing that will accomplish it, but there are actual paint brushes designated for dry brushing as well if you wanted to spend specific money for those. And here we are done painting the interior, so I figured I would just glue it together, and you want to let these guys sit for probably, I don't know, 15 minutes after you glue them together. And I'll cut here because I'm gluing the two pieces together and letting those sit, and then we're going to cut in a second to the arms. I've let them sit for 15 minutes so the other part dries, so when I'm attaching this arm it doesn't like shift and cause like the melted type plastic to ooze out of the seam, because that would be bad. All right, now we're going in with Brass Scorpion by Citadel, and we're gonna do another dry brushing of the cloaks, and this will add like a bronze sheen to them, which looks really cool, I think. And I've done this to all my miniatures out of this set so far, and it looks really awesome when it comes down to it. I'm also adding the Brass Scorpion to the scythes here to give them more of a metal finish, because I was going for like a really dark, like almost rusted metal. And now we're using Runefange still by Citadel, and this is my Army Painter Insane Detail brush because we're about to go in and do the chains on the cloak. And I wish I had a closer view here for you guys, but really I'm just using the edge of the brush, like the side, not the tip, but the side of the brush to kind of like brush over the outer portion of the chains to just have the top part of the chains grab that and not fill them in completely with silver. And you'll see the effect when it's completely done. And I'm also doing regular speed at this point because I want you to see how I'm detailing as best you can. I know I don't have a close enough view for this, but you know, you can kind of tell what I'm doing there. I'm using the side of the brush, not the tip, so I don't fill in those little recesses. Now we're going in with a dry brushing of Runefange steel on the scythes and on the handle there to just add a little bit more realism to it and a little bit more sheen to the blade. Be sure not to go too heavy on the dry brushing or it's just gonna look like regular painting, but you wanna just give like a light dusting of it. And I'm not sure what color that was that I just flashed there. I think it was Bronze Scorpion by Citadel, and I'm just going in on the like tombstones and like the fencing down here at the bottom detail to add a little bit of realism to that as well. Now we're using Nighthaunt Gloom, which is a technical paint. It's almost like a wash, but a little bit thicker. And I'm going back over this blue fade to add it, make it a little bit more solid and not so like brush strokey. You'll see in a second how good it looks when you add that. That was a quick comparison, but it went by too fast, but you'll see it at the end in more detail. Now I'm going to add a clear Elmer's glue to the bottom. This is washable, but I mean, you're not gonna get your minis wet, so should be fine. This is what a lot of people use. So I'm just adding a little bit to the base there and then just brushing it with a brush dedicated for glue. And you wanna wash your brush out like soon afterwards. And then I'm dusting it with this red sand, almost like gravel, that I got at Star Nursery, or actually my husband went and got it. It was just a free sample. And then there you go. That's the finished product there. Looks pretty dope. And you should be able to achieve this result as well if you follow my steps. And then here we go. We got my whole squad right now. This is all the ones that I've done out of the kit. Plus I did Kurdos as well.